everybody. It's attorney Laura Sterling. You know what I was amazed at? I was just looking at the calendar. Next month is August. Can you believe that? The summer just went whoosh. At least it did it here in Florida. If you live in Florida, school starts pretty quickly into August. I know up north, as y'all know, I'm from Minnesota. We start generally after Labor Day, but here they start. I was just talking to a friend of mine, and her children start, I think, like August 12th. So they're already getting ready for school. Can you believe it? Anyway, what that means here in Florida is hopefully, I'm always looking up to the sky saying, please, 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 it'll cool down a little bit here in Florida. It doesn't matter what time of the day you go out, night, afternoon, morning, evening, it's hot. Hot, hot, hot. I like to run. I go out between 5 and 5:30. I come back. You could ring me and I would fill a cup. That's how hot it is. Anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome to my live show. As you know, we do these once a month and I focus on some topics. So this summer, as I talked about, I like to talk about criminal cases because, kids are off of school, we're celebrating, we're at the pool, we're at the lake, we're at somebody's house. And so things tend to happen. We tend to drink, we tend to become a little rowdy. So that's why I like to focus on criminal cases during the summer. So that's what we focused on over the summer. And then come, August, I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I looked at my calendar. We're going to be talking about alimony. So I'm going to switch right into the family law cases. That's a nice thing about our law offices. We're really a boutique law firm. Yes, my lovely business partner, Mary Teruya, she focuses solely on immigration. There's so much going on in immigration that keeps her busy. But me, I like to keep my toes in different things. So, I do family, I do criminal, I do estate planning, I do probate, I do guardianships, I do elder law. So I kind of dabble in everything. Kind of keeps things moving and grooving and exciting for me. So I want to welcome you to my live show. I want you to know at any time, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them up on the chat. My lovely staff who's working behind the scenes, they'll be more than happy to pop up your question at any time. And don't feel like you have to wait till I finish a sentence or wait till I finish a thought or wait till I finish a topic for you to ask that question, because I'm more than happy to stop talking, read your question and go with it. It kind of helps. It helps me know too that you're listening and that you are concerned and you have questions. And this is the time where you get your questions answered for free, because usually we charge a consultation fee. So this is where you get me for an hour or maybe 55 minutes. And you can ask me any question you want about DUIs. If you have other criminal matters, I'm more than happy to answer as well during this hour, because you never know. If you have a question, there might be somebody else in the room who also has a question under the same circumstances. So please feel free to, ask any type of question you want regarding criminal matters, DUI, whatever may happen. It seems this summer that I'm having a lot of questions in regards to, criminal cases. Excuse me, I'm choking a little bit. Having a lot of criminal cases come through, and I don't know if maybe it's a summer and people are a little more freer, but I have no problem in dealing with your criminal cases. I love doing criminal, and I'm honored when you do choose our office to have us help you out. Now I got to watch it this time during my live because I talk about my parents a lot. My parents love to watch me on this live show. So my mother told me the other day that I use my hands too much. So I'm trying to kind of keep my hands down here a little bit more so that you're not distracted by me doing this. I've always been kind of a hand talker. I like to use my hands. I'm very, active and stuff. But I'm going to do this today, and I'm going to try my hardest not to bring those hands into the picture. So, okay, let's take a deep breath. I'm really the one that's going to take a deep breath. I got to talk for an hour. I did just present at a conference, and I present again tomorrow, and I presented, I think, a couple weeks ago for 3 hours straight. I did not take a break. I barely took a breath. I took a breath long enough for somebody to ask a question in the room, and then I talked and talked. I was exhausted afterwards. I could have just laid down and taken a nap, but I didn't. I went to dinner with friends. So 1 hour to me is nothing in comparison to that. So please make yourself comfortable, get yourself comfortable either in front of the computer, the iPad, your phone, whatever you may have me on. Make sure you have your little drink. I've got my little Orlando Magic thermal mug, and then I've got my extra bottle hanging out for when I get dry or when I start coughing. Make sure you have that. Maybe have a little nosh, a little snack next to you, because, well, depending on what time you're at, could be lunchtime, could be after lunch, or in between, whatever it is. So make sure you're comfortable. You can hear me, you can see me, you're able to ask me any questions at any time. And let's move on. So, what is this month's topic about? Well, if you've been watching my videos every week, you know it's a DUI. What is a DUI? DUI here in Florida, the definition of a DUI is driving under the influence. Now, a lot of people think a DUI or driving under the influence means alcohol, right? Oh, well, I wasn't drinking alcohol. I don't know why they stopped me and charged me with a DUI. Well, guess what? A DUI can be more than just alcohol, as I've been saying. A person is guilty of a DUI if they're in actual physical control of the vehicle, meaning they're behind the wheel, they're driving, they could be stopped, they have actual control of the vehicle, and their blood alcohol concentrate, which is we like to use in acronyms here, DUI. We like to use blood alcohol consumption as a BAC. So a BAC is 0.08% or higher. So if you have a 0.02, they're not going to be able to charge you because they can't fit that element. You have to be at least a 0.08. Now, if you're a 0.08, okay, you're DUI. If you're higher than that, I've had people as high as 0.15. I don't even know what that is. I think that would be me like drinking 2 drinks. I'm such a lightweight. So I've seen people at 0.15. They can enhance it then, and it's no longer criminal traffic. It can be a felony or a misdemeanor and have harsher punishments. So if you're at a 0.08, they can arrest you for a DUI, or 0.08 higher, they can arrest you for a DUI because you're at that threshold. They can meet that number 1 element. Number 2 element, you are under the influence of alcoholic beverages or any chemical substance that can make you impaired. So that would be any controlled substance. Let's say it's marijuana. Although, people have marijuana cards, so forth, but just because you have a marijuana card, and I get this a lot. Yeah, but I had a marijuana card, but that doesn't give you the right to smoke marijuana and then drive if that marijuana is going to cause you to be impaired. Recently, and God bless, there was an incident a few years ago that happened here. I live in Seminole County, Florida, and there was an incident just a few miles from my house where a young family, husband and wife, were riding their bicycles. And I think the child was 2, if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong on her age, but she was small. And I assume she was riding on the back. You know how the bicycles have the little seats and you can put your child back there and they just have a good old time. And they're wearing their little helmets and they look so cute. They were riding their bicycles on the sidewalk, on the side of the road. And a woman came and hit them. I don't think he hit the wife, but she hit the husband and the child. The child was killed, God bless. And the father has a traumatic brain injury. He's in a facility. And so come to find out, that woman, she wasn't under the influence of alcohol. She was under the influence of prescription drugs that were prescribed to her by her doctor. And so she was at such an impairment that's how she drove off the road and she hit them and all that kind of stuff. And, it just really devastated that wife, because she lost her child and her husband is in a facility and she's having to care for them. They actually had the trial this year for that woman. And I think she was found guilty, but then she passed away before they could impose sentence. And the poor wife, I really do feel for her. And every once in a while, I'll go over and I'll put flowers. They have a very nice arrangement there. But so DUI doesn't just mean alcohol, it means other substances as well. Anything that can impair your driving. So you may have a marijuana card, but that doesn't give you a right to smoke marijuana and drive. So those are the two elements that they have to prove in a DUI to arrest. Well, they can just have probable cause to arrest you. But if you went to trial, the state attorney or the state of Florida, whatever state you're in, you need to get with an attorney there to find out what the elements are. But here in the state of Florida, they have to prove number one, that your blood alcohol level, your BAC, was at 0.08% or higher. And number two, that you were under the influence of alcohol or some controlled substance. Now, that is a definition of a DUI here in the state of Florida. Now, you may ask, well, how do they know I'm impaired? I mean, do they just smell the alcohol? Do they see me driving erratically? What exactly makes them arrest me for a DUI? So a DUI can be anything. The police, as long as they have probable cause and they have a right to stop you, and then they can start administering certain tests. So let me give an example of a good stop. A good stop is a police officer is behind you and they run your tag, and they can do that. That is completely 100% legal here in the state of Florida. So they run your tag and they find out your license is suspended or expired, or you don't have one, or whatever it may be. They pull you over. So they pull you over, they walk over to the side of your car, and they smell alcohol. I don't know. My sense of smell must be really bad, because unless you're doused in it, I wouldn't know. I mean, especially you roll down your window. Listen to me. We were just talking about how you used to be able to roll down your window, but you push the button to have your window come down, and allegedly they say they can smell alcohol in your breath. I mean, I just find that suspect, but whatever. Let's say that your words are slurred, or you're having a hard time. You know how you can't understand a word I'm saying. So they ask you your name, and you go, "My name is Sterling." Those are kind of signs. So let's say you're slurring your words. They allege a smell of alcohol, and they allege you have bloodshot eyes. Again, I had pink eye a few years ago. I swear I've never gotten over it. My eyes tend to get bloodshot really easily. I'll rub them or whatever, and then they get irritated, and I start, doing this. So bloodshot eyes to me, suspect. Again, so they believe, based on their experience, the police officer's experience, slurring your words, they smell alcohol, and your eyes are bloodshot. They can have probable cause to have you step out of your vehicle and start doing what we call field sobriety tests, which are again, we love our acronyms, FST. So we all know what they are, right? We've seen people doing them on the side of the road. We've seen them on TV. Here in Florida, a field sobriety test consists of a few things. One of them is they'll have a light, a little pen light, one of those that you punch in. Usually it's dark. If it's not dark, they can't really do it, because your eyes are going to react to the sun and everything else. But if it's nighttime and it's dark, they do this and they put the light on. They put it right here. So I'm looking at it right now. It's parallel to my nose, which means both my eyes have to look at it. And they'll move it from side to side. And you're supposed to be watching it, right? I'm not really sure what this does, to tell you the truth. I don't really think this is much of a field sobriety test. And again, these are my opinions as a defense attorney. So you're following this light, not really sure. I don't know if your pupils are not supposed to react or whatever it may be. But okay. They do that test, and they make a subjective opinion on whether or not you've passed that test based on their observation. The next test is I'm going to stand up for a second. I'm going to stand back here so you can see me. And this is why I don't have a background today, because I wanted to do some of these tests for you so you can see. So I'm going to stand here. Now my head I know is kind of cut off, but what they do, because I want you to see my legs, if you could, ladies, if you could take away the driving under the influence sign for me, please, so it doesn't interfere with my legs. I'm asking my little team behind the scenes to get rid of that sign for you. But, okay, it'll eventually go away. But, okay, your legs are here. They ask you to lift one of your legs. See how I've lifted my leg? And they ask you to stand like that for so many seconds. I'm not very good with my balance, as you can see. And the only thing I've had to drink today is tea, coffee, and water. And then they ask you to do it to the other leg. You notice that one side is generally better than the other, although with me it's really not. But this is a subjective opinion if you're able to hold that one leg up in the air for a count of 10 or whatever. I mean, really, come on. Some people have a really difficult time with balance. Maybe they have some kind of vertigo or something like that. And of course, the police will ask you, do you have any medical condition? Well, I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. I haven't seen a doctor in years. And so they have you stand on this one leg at night, potentially on uneven ground. You're in cement or rocks or whatever. And based on their subjective opinion, they grade you whether or not you've passed it or you failed it. Final field sobriety test here in Florida that they use a lot. And again, I'm moving the chair. They want you, I'm going to start back here. They want you to go heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. Do you notice how I'm kind of shaking? Heel toe. And then turn around and go back, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. Now you all try to do that and see how well you do. And again, all I've had to drink today is tea, coffee, and water. Now I may be hyped up on caffeine a little bit, so that may be impairing me somewhat, but I have a difficult time with that heel toe, even staying balanced. Unless maybe I'm really focused or I can have my arms out to try to balance me, but they make you put your arms to your side. So, I mean, nobody in their right mind walks like that, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. Maybe a baby when they're first learning how to walk, but as an adult, we don't do that. And so they have you do that a couple times. You have to go out, I think, 10 steps, turn around, do 10 steps, and you're on, the white lines on the side of the road that are not broken up, are a continuous white line. They have you on that. And then based on the officer's subjective opinion, they grade you whether or not you pass or fail. And I'm telling you, if they feel you fail, you're going to be arrested for a DUI. That's their subjective opinion as to those field sobriety tests. So once you are arrested for a DUI, they will read you your rights. They'll say, do you consent to blowing, in the blowing, to going and blowing into the thing to see what your blood alcohol is, what your BAC is. If you refuse, if you say, no, I'm not blowing, your license is automatically suspended for a year. Why? Because your driver's license is a privilege, not a right. And so when you get that driver's license, at least here in the state of Florida, you're agreeing that if you ever have to have your blood alcohol tested by a blow, that you agree to it. If you don't, automatic. Now, they can use that in a court saying they refused to get the blow test. They can use that. But, if they don't have the blow, they can't really connect you with, okay, what was your blood alcohol level? They can't really connect with that element. They can't connect with that 0.08%. All they can use is a field sobriety test. And the field sobriety test, if you go to trial, they'll watch the video, they'll show the video. And then again, subjective, okay, are you impaired? Are you impaired? A jury is supposed to be neutral, but who knows? Anyway, so that's how the police form an opinion to arrest you. Now, of course, if God bless if you have alcohol in the car with you. You get open bottles, you got empty beer cans. I mean, the connection is not too far for them to do that. But also, if you say anything, I don't know how many times I've had police reports where I've had clients come to me with a DUI, and in the police report it says, ask the driver if he had anything to drink tonight. And what do you think my client says? Oh, yeah, I had a couple of beers. Da, da, da. Why? Why are you giving that information to the police? Don't give that information. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to say anything. And my clients will always say, well, if I didn't say anything, I thought I was going to be arrested. I go, well, you're here now and you're here for a DUI. So how did that work out for you? You don't have to say anything. You don't say, I prefer not to answer that question. I prefer not to answer that question. You're not under arrest. You're not under interrogation. And if you are under arrest, they better have read you your Miranda rights, and then you have the right not to talk. So I love to watch the true crime shows, and I was watching one, what is it called? Evil Women by Pierce Morgan or whatever his name is. He interviews these women that committed some pretty horrific crimes. And the police had brought a woman in. She was under arrest. They brought her into an interrogation room. Anytime I'm with my client, if they're getting arrested or I'm going with them to turn themselves in, I explicitly let everybody know in the police station, my client's not talking. Do not talk to my client. Do not even look his way. Don't even cross go. Don't even give him $200. He is not talking. So everybody stop and cease. Well, this woman, they brought her in. She didn't have an attorney. And they were talking to her, and she kept saying, get me my attorney. Get me my attorney. Of course, it's not the police job to get your attorney, but she just kept saying it. Get my attorney. Get my attorney. And they're like, oh, are you refusing to talk to us? You want us to get an attorney? Yes, get my attorney. And you're supposed to stop. At least here in Florida, the police are to stop. When attorney even comes out of your mouth, they're to stop. They're to stop. They kept talking to her. They kept egging her on. I'm like, stop. I'm yelling at the TV. Stop. Anyway, I can't get off the beaten path. I'm going to come back to DUIs. Anyway, okay, so they arrest you. They ask you, based on the field sobriety test, we believe that you're under the influence of alcohol. So you're being arrested for driving under the influence. Please turn around. They cuff you. They search you. They can search the vehicle now, subject to an arrest. They can search the vehicle. Hopefully they don't find anything in there. They arrest you. They put you in the back. Like they said, let's say you refused to blow, then your license is suspended automatically. You get put into a holding cell. You'll have your first appearance the next day, because you don't automatically get a bond, because think of it back in the day. They would call it, remember the term, you may not be as old as I am, but the drunk tank, where everybody could go sit and they were drunk and they would sober up and then they'd be let go. Think of it that way. That's what the police are still doing. They're putting you there. You have to wait till the next day to see a judge to get a bond to get out. And you will get a bond. So you get out, and you get out the next day because you've sobered up, hopefully. And then now your case starts. So you're going through the process at that point. Now, let's say you're under arrest. They say, are you willing to take a breathalyzer? You say yes. So then they have to take you to the station where they have a breathalyzer. What they have to do is they have to sit you down and they have to watch you for a period of time before they do the breathalyzer. So they watch you for a period of time. Why? I have no idea. They just want to see how you act, so you can, everybody can observe you and see how you act. And then they administer the breathalyzer. Now, they don't just have you blow once, oh, look, you're drunk. No, they have you do it several times so that they can look at what the levels are. So that's what they do. Then they get whatever the amount is. I don't know if you're under that 0.08. I mean, realistically, they should release you. Who knows? They may keep you and then just say, well, let the state attorney decide. And then the state attorney looks at it and is probably going to say, I can't fit one of my elements. The number one element is 0.08. If you're at 0.06, you're still under the 0.08, but it's up to their call. So anyway, so then you've blown, let's say you blow the 0.08%. They keep you till the next day, you get a bond, you pay the bond, and out you go, and now your case starts. Now I know what you're asking. You're asking, okay, my case starts. What am I looking at? What is my maximum exposure? What is my, lack of a better word, punishment here in the state of Florida when I get a DUI? So my punishment, and it depends on the DUI, depends on how many DUIs you've had, in what span of time you've had DUIs. I one time had a guy that got a DUI in June and a DUI in July. I was like, oh no, that is not a good thing. So anyway, it just varies on the number of prior DUIs and the specifics of the case. So anytime I get a DUI, and I always ask my clients when I'm talking to them, have you ever had a DUI before? If they say, no, I've never been arrested, it's my first time DUI, then what we call here in Florida is DUI mins, DUI minimums. That means first time DUIs always get the minimum punishment. Now, I found some counties here in Florida allow for a DUI pretrial diversion, DUI PTD. See how we love our acronyms? Driving under the influence pretrial diversion. And what does that mean? If you do certain things and you're successful and you don't pick up any more charges, DUI is dismissed. And I always tell my clients, I never ask them if they want to do it. I tell them, you are doing this because God forbid you get another DUI and you've got a conviction on the first one, you're not looking at a pretty sight there. So first time, so if you don't get offered the pretrial diversion, if the county doesn't offer that, you need to do DUI minimums. DUI minimums include fines, could be anywhere from $500 to $1,000. If your blood alcohol or BAC is higher than 0.15%, then it could increase. Then it could increase to $1,000 to $2,000. Or if you have a child or a minor, well, a child is a minor, right? No matter what age they are, 16, 17, they're still a minor. So, or they're still a child in my eyes. I have a 26-year-old child. I just want to point that out. But anyway, so if you have a minor or a child in the car, not only would you get a higher punishment, but you could also have DCF and other criminal charges involved with child endangerment or all of that. If you have a child in your car and your blood alcohol is higher than 0.08 or even higher than 0.15. You could get imprisonment up to 6 months because it's a, what is that? I think it's a first degree, second degree misdemeanor, or first degree misdemeanor. So up to 6 months. Generally, with first time DUIs, in my experience, if there's no injuries, no nothing, generally it's probation. It's not jail time. It's just not jail time. Unless you get a really tough state attorney or something, it's generally not jail time. Of course, I can never guarantee, but if you have no priors, no injuries on this case, it's just a straight DUI, then you're looking at probation. Of course, if the blood alcohol level again is over 0.15, or again, there is a child in the vehicle, it could grow to 9 months in jail. And so, but generally, for my first time DUIs, my clients don't get that. Your license could be suspended for 180 days up to a year. Again, you refuse the breathalyzer, you're looking at a year. So what I do when I go in front of the judge and let's say my client has accepted the DUI first time minimums, I will ask if my client's license is suspended for even 6 months. Because as you know, here in Florida, mass transit is not an easy option here. Driving really is. I'll ask for my client if the court has any objection to a hardship license. Hardship license doesn't mean you can drive everywhere. Hardship license means just that, to work and back. Maybe if you have doctor's appointments, you get some illness or something like that that you need to drive for. Those are the issues at a hardship license. But they require some moving and grooving. You have to take a class, you have to go through the Department of Motor Vehicles, all of that kind of stuff to be able to get that. But generally, I'll ask if the court objects, and generally the court does not, because they realize people need to work and make money, and getting your DUI can be very pricey. A DUI can be very pricey with attorney fees, probation costs, all of that. I heard a story where somebody won a lottery. They won $10,000 and they went out and they celebrated, got a DUI, and guess where that $10,000 went? To the DUI. So was it worth it? No. Anyway, then you get probation up to a year with mandatory 50 hours of community service. Now, what I ask is that the court allow my client to buy out. What does buyout mean? Instead of doing the hours, they can pay $10 an hour. So if you got 50 hours of community service, if you pay $500, and of course it goes to the clerk and whomever, then you don't have to do it. Now, a lot of times with 50 community hours, the judge is probably going to be a little more, yeah, you can buy out of all of them at $10 an hour. Some judges will be, okay, they can buy out a half, 25 hours, so $250. The other 25, they got to put in somewhere. I just had somebody that I think he had 100 hours, 150 hours of community service. It was a felony. It was pretty serious. And the state, when I was talking to them, they wouldn't agree to the buyout. I'm like, pfft. So I went to the judge, and when I was up there, I said, Your Honor, he has 150 hours of community service. We asked that he be able to buy out of those hours. The judge allowed him to buy out a half. So the other half, he still had to complete the hours. So anyway, so community service hours. There's a vehicle impoundment for 10 days. And guess what? It doesn't matter whose car it is. Could be your uncle, your mother's, your brothers, your sisters, your boyfriends, your girlfriends, your next door neighbor, your coworker. That vehicle that you got stopped in has to be impounded for 10 days. And guess who has to pay it? Well, not me as the attorney, the client. The client has to pay for that 10 days. Now, of course, there is a statute here in Florida that allows for that vehicle impoundment to be set aside. And so the vehicle impoundment set aside would be a hardship for that car to be impounded. So I'll always ask my client, when I turn this way, I'm pretending like I'm talking to my client. Does anybody else use this vehicle? Is this the only vehicle you have in your family to transport? What is the vehicle mainly used for? All of those things. So then I can argue to the judge while I'm up there, Your Honor, we ask that she set aside the vehicle impoundment, as this is the only vehicle that our client has to go to work each day and transport the children to school and blah, blah, blah. Him and his wife share it. If it's in an impound, it'll be a hardship on them getting to and from work and getting the children to and from school. That's my argument. I'm sticking to it. So that would be the vehicle impoundment. Now, there's also something we call DUI school. There's classes for everything. There's a mandatory completion of a DUI school and a substance abuse evaluation. So you have to take this DUI class. And a lot of times, sometimes they throw in there like a Mothers Against Drunk Drivers panel, where you sit and you listen to stories of people who have lost loved ones from DUIs. So, the court feels that's very impactful to hear. But the DUI school, and then the substance abuse evaluation. Now, it's not just a substance abuse evaluation and treatment. So if that substance abuse evaluation recommends treatment, guess what? You have to complete treatment. And guess who pays for all of this? You do. The person who got charged and is now dealing with the after effects of the DUI. It's a lot. There's also things called, sometimes an interlocking device goes in your car. The court will order that. And what it is it attaches to the steering gauge. And when you get in your car, you got to blow in it. And if there's any alcohol, if that little device, and I don't know how it does it, if that little device detects any alcohol on your breath, the vehicle is locked up. It will not start. So that interlocking device ensures the state of Florida, because now the state of Florida is involved, that you do not drive after you've been drinking, even if it's just a little. If it's even, oh my gosh, I just had one drink. But if that device can pick up that alcohol, your car won't start. It's locked up. So anyway, so those would be your first time DUI minimums. Now, let's say you get a second one. And this is why I asked the question, have you ever had a DUI before? If they say no, I ask again, are you sure? Because, people tend to forget. And if they still say no, okay, then I'm going forward with, okay, the offer is going to be DUI mins. What do you want to do about it? And then also knowing that when I get the discovery, we call evidence in the state of Florida discovery. When I get the discovery, I'm going to get the body cam. If the officer in that county has a body cam, I'm going to get the body cam, or they even record it to make sure, because they know they need that field sobriety test evidence in court. I can watch the field sobriety test, and then I can watch everything, and I can also get your criminal history. I'm going to get your criminal history record. Every attorney is going to get your criminal history record. So don't think like, well, no, I haven't had any, but you have and you know it. You need to be honest with us. We're your attorney. That's the only way that we can defend you. Because I've had clients in the past go, no, I'm not, no, and then I get their criminal background check, and then I'm like, okay, what is this? So be honest with us so that we can best represent you. But again, that's why I asked the question. So let's say I ask you the question, okay, have you ever had a prior DUI? You say yes. The next question I'm going to ask you is when? And I need you to remember, I don't need the day, I don't need the month, I don't care. What year? And we're in 2024 now. Well, I had it in 2022. Let's say you remember February of 2022. I'm going to go, whew. Okay. So this would be your second DUI within 5 years of the first. So that's how they look at it. So I'm looking at, okay, you've had it. This is your second DUI. It's been within 5 years. This is what you're looking at. Again, you're looking at fines of $1,000, $2,000, because now everything bumps up. Of course, if your BAC is higher than 0.15%, or you have a minor or whatever, it increases to $2,000 to $4,000. You're looking at jail time for a possibility of 9 months. Again, if it's higher, your blood alcohol content is higher, you're looking at possibly a year. And then if this is your second within 5 years, guess what? You're looking at mandatory jail time of at least 10 days if it's a second offense within 5 years. That is mandatory. There is no, I don't want to do it. No. It's mandatory. They want to teach you a lesson. So they're going to make you do 10 days. Now, of course, your arrest, that'll count as 1 day. So you were arrested and you go in front of the judge the next day. That's considered 1 day. So you do have credit for that. Your license suspended 5 years. 5 years. With the possibility of a hardship reinstatement after 1 year. So you at least have to have your license suspended for 1 year, because 5 years is a long time to not have your license. But they're making you live through it for 1 year, and then you can apply for that hardship license. You have probation of up to a year. You have your vehicle impoundment, no longer 10 days. It's now 30 days. And again, you have the mandatory completion of a DUI school and substance abuse evaluation and treat. Always remember that treat. Always remember that treatment. If you ever get arrested and you accept a plea offer, and they say substance abuse evaluation, there's never a period at the end of that. There's always going to be an end in between there. Substance abuse evaluation and treat. So that's what we're looking at as far as your second offense within 5 years. So that's a lot to take on. So, you always want to, and I'm going to do a little PSA here right now, public service announcement. Anytime you're drinking, pick a designated driver. Or an Uber. Ubers are great. Ubers are fabulous. Or have a friend pick you up or something, because DUIs are very expensive. You have a lot that you're going to be putting out for money. Number one, an attorney. Number two, the fines and court costs of investigation, costs of prosecution, all of that. You're going to have the jail time. You're going to have probation, which you need to pay for. You're going to have your license suspended, which there's no monetary value on that. I mean, that's horrific. You're going to have the DUI school you got to pay for, community service that you may want to buy out. You're going to have substance abuse evaluation, which costs. You're going to have the treatment that they're potentially going to recommend that you're going to have to pay for. There's a lot of money that goes out, and then that has to follow you throughout your life, right? So anyway, okay, so then you have your third offense. So you come to me and you say, yeah, I just got arrested for a DUI. Again, my first question is going to be, have you ever been arrested for a DUI before? And again, they'll be like, no. And I'll say it again. Are you sure you've never been arrested for a DUI before? And click, all of a sudden it comes on. Again, don't lie. Tell us the truth. We're here to represent you. We want to tell you. We want to help you. That's what we're here for. So don't try to hide something, because we're going to find it out eventually anyway. But let's say you get your third offense of a DUI. Whew, now you're looking at some rough stuff. What I'm going to ask you, if you say, well, yeah, I've been arrested twice before, I'm going to go, okay, what time frame? So you're going to tell me what time frame. If you get a third offense within 10 years of the prior conviction, now you're looking at this. You're looking at, again, fines of $1,000 to $5,000. You're looking at 30 days to 12 months in jail. You're looking at up to a year. Up to a year in probation. You're looking at least 10 years of a license revocation. You're looking at, sorry, I'm getting thirsty, I'm telling you. You're looking at 90 days of a vehicle impoundment. Can you imagine how much it would cost for a 90-day vehicle impoundment? I can't even imagine. I probably couldn't even calculate it. You ever watch the parking wars on television? Yeah, that kind of gives you a little insight into how much it is to impound a car. But a 90-day impound, just the hardship it would cause, period, on that, even if it is a second vehicle. And then you have a 2-year installation, a 2-year minimum installation on that, on your car, the interlock device that you're blowing on. So you notice how it gets worse and worse and worse. The severity gets worse and worse and worse, and interferes with your life and causes you lots of money. Also, again, substance abuse counseling and treatment as required. And again, the DUI school. So you're going to have that. No, again, substance abuse counseling and treatment as required. Chances are they're going to find that you need treatment if you've had 3 offenses within 10 years of a DUI. And then any offense after that. Again, you come to me, I say, is this your first arrest on a DUI? You say no, I probe again, you tell me yes. You say you've been convicted 3 times before. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to take a deep breath and go, okay, doesn't matter. 4th offense, doesn't matter. When you had it, you're looking at some pretty harsh punishments. You're looking at a $2,000 to $5,000 fine. You're looking at 1 day to 5 years in jail. You're looking up to 5 years on probation. You're looking at permanent revocation of your license. I don't really have anything that looks like business card. Here's my driver's license. I might as well do that with my driver's license, because that's where it's going. And then 90 days on a vehicle impound. Again, that's a long time. And then a 5-year minimum on the interlocking. Remember the interlocking? You go in the car, you blow, and then if they detect any alcohol, the machine shuts your car down. You can't drive it. And again, the lovely and forever substance abuse counseling and treatment as required and DUI school. Now, mind you, one thing I didn't talk about, while you're on probation for a DUI, they can randomly test you. They can randomly test your urine. Hey, come on in. We want you to come in today for a pee test. I like to call it a pee test. come on in for a pee test. We want to test your urine. If you don't show, guess what? You can violate your probation. You can't not, what do I want to say? You can't not do it. You cannot ignore it. If you ignore it, you think it's, I have clients that ignore it and say, well, it'll go away. It'll go away. It's not going away. So if you have probation call you, you're on probation and they say, hey, we want you to report at 5 o'clock for a P test so we can test you. Well, you better be going. Or I can't make it at 5. Can I do it at 5:30? Maybe you're working and you have to get out of work. That's something you have to talk about with probation. But if you do not show, they can instantly violate you on that. Now you're looking at, again, in an acronym, VOP, violation of probation, and they can pick you up, meaning the little police can show up at your house, at your job, wherever, pick you up and take you into custody because you violated your probation. And now you're looking at harsher sentences than with your DUI. So those are kind of the punishments. I mean, the fourth offense is kind of the end all be all. Anything fourth offense or greater, you're looking at tougher and tougher penalties. This is the minimum. Of course, they can do more. But again, they can enhance it if your blood alcohol, BAC, is more than that 0.15% of blood alcohol. They can bust it up in what we call in the legal world, criminal defense world, an enhancement. They can enhance the DUI. So they can bring it up to a felony. And I've had to argue a few of mine down to a misdemeanor. I've had state attorneys fight me on bringing it down, especially if it's even higher than 0.15. Like I said, I've had 0.18. I think I've actually had a 0.2 something, which is I don't even know how they were driving, but I've had to argue a few times with the state attorney to bring it down to, just we call it a standard DUI or regular DUI where you don't have that enhancement. I've been pretty successful in doing that. What it is really for me, I always tell my clients, I always start that communication with the state first. See what I can do, see how I can make it the least I can do, and then we kind of go from there. And then I look at the evidence that I've been provided or the discovery that the state's given me and go from there as well. And my clients always want to explain to me what happened. And although I love hearing your stories, and I don't mind hearing your side of the story, but remember, it's the state's burden to prove your guilt. It's not your burden to prove your innocence. So I need to take the discovery, the evidence, review it, see where I can poke holes, talk to you to see how this evidence, how it happened, what happened, how you see it happen, and then talk to the state. So I've actually had cases thrown out just by me looking at the evidence and telling the state attorney, are you really going forward with this? Because if you are, then I'm going to file a motion to suppress, meaning suppress the stop, suppress the evidence. It was a bad stop. It was a bad search. It was a something. They did something wrong, which they shouldn't have done by law. And I can file a motion to suppress. And that motion to suppress may be dispositive, meaning if the motion to suppress is granted, the case is dismissed. Not all motions to suppress are dispositive of a case. There's potentially where it may just get rid of something rather than get rid of an element rather than being dispositive of the case. So understand that as a lawyer, we can help you with these DUIs. Again, that's why we're here. I have clients come to me all the time and they talk to me and stuff. And then they go, well, I'm just going to go to court and see what happens. And I go, would you just if you were having a heart attack, would you just sit at home and go, well, I just really want to see what happens. Let me see what happens, because what could happen if you stay home and you're having a heart attack? You could die. Not to say with a DUI, and you go to court on yourself, you're going to die, but you could agree to something that you didn't need to agree to because maybe the evidence wasn't there. or maybe the evidence was bad, or maybe it was a bad stop, or there was something there that as an attorney we could look at and we could take care of for you. We could get rid of for you. We could get the case dismissed. We could get a lower punishment. We could get, sometimes what we argue with a DUI, if it's your first DUI, is a wet reckless. And a wet reckless is like a traffic ticket. It doesn't have the same effect. So if you have, let's say I was able to talk the state down to a wet reckless, and let's say a couple years later you get a DUI, it won't be a subsequent, it won't be a second. It won't be a second. It would only be your first, because that first DUI got bumped down to a wet reckless. So there's lots of things that we can do that you need to know with a DUI, because DUIs will haunt you. They will follow you. And you don't want that. You want to make sure that you can say, okay, I've done everything that I can do to try to combat this DUI. You know, sometimes in your very first hearing after your first appearance in your bond hearing is an arraignment. And a lot of times people will show up to an arraignment without an attorney and they'll be like, yeah, I just want to resolve the case. And the state says, okay, I'm willing to give you this. Okay, yeah, I want that. Yeah, that's fine. And you didn't have to do that because they don't have the evidence, or their evidence isn't good, or something, but they're just getting it off the docket. So what do they care? You're agreeing to it. Hey, yay. And the judge can't provide you legal advice. The state attorney's not going to provide you any legal advice. You don't have an attorney, so there's no attorney there to give you legal advice. So it's always best to consult an attorney, no matter what it is, DUI or no matter what criminal case it is, rather than you showing up to court just to see what happens, Because I'm telling you right now, you need that proper representation in court, especially in a criminal case, because criminal cases will follow you. You go to apply for a job, you go to apply for assistance, whatever it may be, that is constantly going to pop up. And I have clients come to me that say, and this is just a little commercial, that come to me and say, I want to clean my record. And I go, okay, well, how is your record dirty? That's always my first question. And they'll tell me about their different criminal history, and I'll look it up and I'll say, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. Maybe the case is not sealable. Maybe it's not expungible. So it's there and there's nothing I can do. Well, I didn't have an attorney and I didn't know what I was doing. I unfortunately, after a certain amount of time, there's nothing I can do about that. And so it's always best to consult with an attorney when it comes to criminal matters, and any real legal matter is best to consult with an attorney. And that's what we're here for. Now understand, I get it. I understand that with these DUIs, you lose your driver's license. That can be upsetting. You need to try with the DMV to get that hardship license. They require you to do some things. We're here for you as well. If we represent you on the DUI, it doesn't encompass the getting your driver's license, because that's a whole administrative, but we'll be more than happy to help you with getting your license, a hardship license, for that time that your license is suspended due to the DUI. Now understand, I'm not addressing DUIs that result in great bodily harm, high amounts of damage, serious bodily injury to another person, manslaughter, DUI manslaughter, DUI vehicular homicide. The vehicular homicides or manslaughter result because of your DUI impairment. You took the life or caused the death of another person. That's where the manslaughter, vehicular homicide come in. That is charged as a second-degree felony. If you remember, I think it was last month we talked about procedures. Second-degree felony is maximum imprisonment of up to 15 years in prison. So if that happens, please, 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 you need to hire an attorney, because those are serious, serious charges. Even the ones DUI causing serious bodily injury to another person is charged as a third-degree felony, which is punishable by up to 5 years in prison. So always make sure that you consult with an attorney. So I want to thank you for being a part of my live show. I'm glad that you became that you are a part of it and that you came and I was able to show you my field sobriety test function. Those are always fun. Anytime I see that on the side of the road, I just shake my head because I wouldn't be able to pass it. And I've only, like I said, tea, coffee, water. That's it. Oh, I take that back. I did put a little lemon juice in my water. But besides that, I wouldn't be able to do it. So would they arrest me? And what if I have slippery shoes on? Or what if I have new shoes or the shoes are too big or I have flip flops on? Then what do they do? So you're able to see my field sobriety test. I went over what a DUI is. I went over the enhancement. I went over the punishments up to the fourth offense. I went over DUI manslaughter, all of that. So please feel free to call our office. We're here in the state of Florida. We're here to help you. It would be my honor to help you. I do DUIs all the time. It would be my honor, my privilege to assist you with these. I love looking at videos. I love picking them apart. I like choosing, okay, whoop, this is, and then talking to the state attorney and going, this is wrong, that's wrong, this is wrong, kind of picking it apart for you. So we're here for you again, Attorney Laura Sterling. And please, if you're not living in the state of Florida, but you're watching me, remember, I'm only licensed in Florida. So if you live in Montana, Nebraska, Arkansas, California, New York, New Jersey, please seek legal counsel in the state that you live to advise you on what the punishments are for DUI. I know you can Google it, but Google, it depends on how much Google is updated, and they can never really truly provide you full legal advice. So it was a pleasure being with you. I'm glad you joined in, and we'll see you next month when we talk about alimony. Have a great month.